how to become the best versions of yourself. Because manhood is exceptionally hard and life is hard. But how you shape yourself will determine how hard it is for you and how miserable it will be. As a man, there is no easy life. If you're looking for an easy life, you should have been a girl. You made a mistake.
Yep.
Your life is not about being easy. Your life is not about being happy. Your life is always going to be difficult. All of the pain you feel, all of the sadness you feel, you're supposed to feel as a man, and you have two effective binary choices. You either go through the suffering and go through the trauma and go through the hardship it takes to be a man of value, or you suffer eternity as a nobody.
Every time I feel stressed or under pressure, I get excited. I hate to not be stressed. I wake up and I'm like, everything's fucked. Good. Yes. Like, that's just how I am, right? But it's how you adopt, it's how you look at the problems and how you use them to fuel you. So the question was, what's the problem for the average man today? What's the biggest problem? I think there's a whole host of problems. But what you have to do is frame it inside of your mind and understand that all of those problems are going to allow you, give you the fuel, the unlimited motivation that you need to become a successful and beautiful individual if you frame it in the right way. If you take a man and give him a life shielded from problems and he never has any to face, I guarantee you he's terrible at being a man. The best men in the world have gone through shit. That's why women love scars, because it didn't kill you. That's the whole point of it, right? So the best thing you can do as a man is look and go, okay, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard. I feel negative because these are all so difficult. I'm struggling with X, Y, Z. Let me internalize all of that and turn it into a superpower.
So when you attack a man's mental fortitude on one issue, you attack on all issues. This is why it's done purposefully. To resist a slave mind, you need to be able to resist in the first place. How can you resist a slave mind if you have no physicality, you have no willpower, no ability to mentally resist anything? Well, then what you're gonna end up doing, you're gonna end up eating the bugs and watching the porn and sitting in front of your computer, and that's what they want from the people. So I think that it's actually all very interconnected. People come at me with the porn problem, and I get the same thing. Guys say to me all the time, hey, what should I do? I struggle with pornography. And I say, that's because you have nothing else in your life in order. If you were in good physical condition, and you had the money you were supposed to have, and you had the mentality you were supposed to have, you wouldn't need it. So the reason you're so addicted to porn is because everything else in your life is a failure. And yeah, it's certainly a complicated issue. It's a difficult one. And this is why they fear male agency so much, because when men truly wake up and decide to be the best versions of themselves, they're hard to control, because all these control mechanisms fall by the wayside. They don't want the porn anymore. They don't want the antidepressants anymore. They don't want the garbage anymore. And now you have a whole bunch of men who actually want truth and honor and respect, and they want to live for something. And then what are they going to live for? They're going to want to be brave. They're going to want to do the right thing, regardless of how dangerous it may be for their own personal circumstance. And that sounds like a difficult population to enslave. A traditionally masculine man does things he doesn't feel like doing because it is his duty to do them. He charges into the building because it is his duty, not because he feels like it, because it is his duty. We're now teaching the new generation of men that they don't have duty and they can just act on their feelings and act how they feel, and they don't have to act as a man should. Do you know what happens when you get men who just act how they feel? You get school shooters, you get violence, you get rapists. Men who do not control their emotions are dangerous. If you find a man who is stoic, he's not gonna hurt people. He's gonna sit and think about his actions very carefully, and he's gonna be a good man who protects and provides for his family. You find a man who just acts out on impulse and does whatever he feels like, you're gonna find a dangerous man. Sitting here telling men to cry more and act with their feelings, and it's okay to feel this way, that way, etc., and have no self-control. That is why we have the problems we have in the world. Absolutely and utterly wrong. So when they talk about toxic masculinity, they have it completely inversed on its head, completely and utterly wrong. We need to be teaching stoicism. We need to be teaching young men to understand that the world is very, very difficult. It's hard to be a man. You're going to feel bad sometimes. You need to suck it up and perform anyway.
As a man, you should always live for something bigger than yourself. I feel like that the true masculine imperative is to find a battle worth fighting for. That's why men have always gone to war, and some men died. That's how it's always been for men. As a man, your life shouldn't be about quantity, it should be about quality. And trying to live as long as possible, but being that porridge goo in the middle is not as important as living a shorter amount of time and getting to be the team instead. So I want people to understand that I believed I was doing the right thing. I'm not a perfect person, perhaps I made some mistakes, but I believed I was doing the right thing at the time. And that I don't have any regrets about it. And that I would like people to learn from my example and live true to themselves. And I think that the world can be a beautiful place when you're true to yourself. I really think that a lot of depression and a lot of sadness and a lot of discontentment with consciousness comes from the very simple fact that most men are not true to themselves. And most men are living lives not doing what they want. Please understand. They don't get to talk to the girls they want to talk to because they're not important enough. They don't get to hang around with the guys as often as they want because they have to work a job they don't like doing. They don't get to tell their woman to be quiet because she'll leave him. He doesn't get to tell his boss to go away because he'll get fired. He just sits in his car, quiet and meek, filled with rage. And the best thing about being rich and important, and I guess the truest way to be happy as a man, is to be true to yourself.
People sit and say, oh, I'm happy or I'm sad. You don't have time. How do you find the time in the day to sit around thinking about being sad? You have shit to do. Like, I don't have time to sit around and contemplate how I feel because I'm busy. So how do you even have time for that? I've had people sit and give me long trotes on how they feel. And I'm like, where did you even come up with this shit? How long have you been sitting around just fucking thinking about nothing? I don't have time for it. A plane defies gravity with speed. That's all it does. If a plane stops moving forward, what happens? So if you do the same thing with yourself and your mentality and your problems and everyone else around you, you can outwork everybody. So I've always understood outworking people, and I also think that it's very easy to work hard and win.
I think that the best thing you can possibly do as a man is prepare for the endless difficulty that's going to come your way. There's no way out as a man. You're either going to have a very difficult life to become somebody important, or you're going to suffer the difficulty of being invisible. What do you want to do? You want to be invisible and just hide and work in Starbucks and never have a girlfriend who truly loves you and nobody care if you live or die? Or do you want to go out there and be top G and be the most famous man in the world and have government agencies trying to lock you up for no reason, putting you in a dungeon? You have to make a choice. It's going to be difficult either way. So I think if you have a son and you're not preparing him for absolute difficulty, you're doing him a disservice. I think that's what has to happen as a man. And I've said this many times before, but I'm going to say it again. I don't think many people understand exactly how competitive the masculine world is. Men are constantly in competition with each other. We always have been. We used to go to war and fight and kill each other. I guess in some places we still do. Maybe that's calmed down a little bit. But in the masculine world of today, everybody is constantly competing for everything. The car that you want, other people want. The woman you want, other people want. The house you want, other people want. You're competing to have all of it. And how do you do that? You do that through status and money and influence and power. It's war.
If we were still in the animal kingdom, the lions that you see on TV, they weren't just born big lions. They had to fight other lions. They had to fight to get that antelope. They had to fight other animals, hyenas, jackals. They had to fight to be the boss. We're living in a comfortable world now where people think, oh, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. But you know what? To some degree, it does matter. It does matter, and I'm going to tell you who it matters to. It matters to your soul, and it matters to God. I stand in the mirror with a pure heart. I know I am the best version of me that could possibly ever exist. I know that God is proud of me. There's nothing that God hates more than sloth and laziness. If God were to create a man and that man were to sit around and do fuck all, God will frown upon you. It's why you're never lucky. If you're listening to this and you think I'm never lucky, I'll tell you why, because God dislikes you because you're fucking lazy. Start to work, start to show God the beauty of his own creations. You'd be amazed how lucky you'll become. Wow. God is unhappy with these people. And inside their hearts, they're unhappy. We talk about depression, anxiety, all those things you mentioned really earlier on this podcast. That comes from self-loathing. You loathe your own weakness. You loathe your own laziness. This is what all of these things are. I don't feel depression. How can I feel depression when I'm the most powerful version of me that I could ever fucking be? How can I feel depression when I could squeeze my own hand hard enough to break my own bones? How can I feel depression when I've smashed and destroyed 68 people's faces in front of me, men who thought they could test me in fair combat? How can I feel depressed? It's impossible. You cannot quit. You cannot give up. You need that momentum to break free. When a rocket is flying out towards the moon to escape the atmosphere, it doesn't fucking pause halfway up the sky, does it? No, it keeps going. Every single second there are things happening, conversations happening that you're not watching. It could be that one little sentence that changes everything, but it ain't easy. It ain't gonna be given to you on a plate. You're gonna have to work. You're in competition with the entire world. Everyone wants to escape. You cannot be lazy. You are in the place where the money resides. You're there. You're amongst it. You're amongst the people who are going to be the future millionaires and billionaires of Earth. You are finally in the right place at the right time. You are the only person who can make this work, and you're also the only person who can fuck this up.